Hey everyone, welcome back. I have something pretty mind-blowing for you today. Picture this. You're digging through a box of old pennies in your attic, maybe just looking for something to pass the time, and boom, you find a 1986 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, you might think, just another penny, right? But what if I told you that little copper coin could be worth, wait for it, a whopping $1.7 million? Yep, you heard me right. Stick around because today, we're going to dive deep into why that 1986 no-mint mark penny is so valuable and how you can find one yourself. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be checking your pockets and change jars like a coin detective on a mission. All right, let's get into it. First things first, when we talk about coins with a high value, it's not always about how shiny or new they look. In fact, the value of a coin is usually tied to rarity, condition, and a little bit of luck. Now, I know, you're probably thinking, I've got a few pennies lying around, but none of them are worth a fortune. That was exactly me a few years back, until I found out just how rare these things can be. The 1986 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is a perfect example. You see, every year, the U.S. Mint stamps coins at certain locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and sometimes San Francisco. Most coins have a mint mark, like a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But in 1986, a few pennies were stamped at the Philadelphia Mint with no mint mark at all. Seems like a small thing, right? Wrong. That missing mint mark makes this penny incredibly rare. Now, let me break it down for you. The 1986 no mint mark penny was part of a large batch of pennies produced that year, but only a handful of them were struck without a mint mark. They're often mistaken for regular 1986 pennies, but once you spot the difference, you'll realize just how valuable they are. And trust me, spotting one isn't as easy as you might think. This is the kind of discovery that can turn your day around. Kind of like when you find that one sock you thought was lost forever. But in this case, the sock is worth $1.7 million. Pretty sweet, huh? Let me share a quick personal story here. A few years ago, I was helping my dad clean out his garage when we stumbled upon a huge jar of coins. I mean, we're talking about a mountain of coins, pennies, nickels, dimes, you name it. My dad said, just take it to the bank, they'll count it for you. But being the coin nerd that I am, I couldn't just dump them in a machine. I had to sort through them, and I'm glad I did because, in that pile, I actually found a rare 1943 steel penny worth hundreds of dollars. My dad was amazed, but I didn't let it get to my head. I kept thinking, if I can find a rare penny from the 40s, what are the odds I could stumble upon a 1986 no mint mark penny? So, how do you know if you found one? Well, the first step is to check the date. Make sure it's from 1986. Then, carefully look for the mint mark, or lack thereof. If it's missing, bingo, you could be holding onto a gold mine. But, of course, the condition matters. A coin in mint condition, meaning it hasn't been damaged or worn down by years of circulation, will be worth a lot more than one that's been through the ringer. So if you find one, take care of it like it's your best buddy. Why is it worth so much? Well, rarity is a huge factor here. Only a few 1986 no mint mark pennies were ever made, and they didn't all survive the years in perfect condition. Over time, some were lost, others were worn down by being in circulation, and the rest just didn't survive the test of time. So, finding one in good shape is like finding a needle in a haystack. The $1.7 million value isn't just some random price that popped up. That's the current market value for a well-preserved specimen based on recent sales. In fact, if you can get your hands on one, especially if it's graded well, you could be sitting on a small fortune. And that's not just me talking. Experts in the coin world are starting to take notice of these rare finds. But don't get too discouraged if you don't find one immediately. Coin collecting is all about patience. Sure, you might not discover a $1.7 million penny tomorrow, but that doesn't mean you won't find something valuable down the line. Keep your eyes peeled and always check your spare change. It's like treasure hunting, but without having to leave your house. So, let's wrap this up. The 1986 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is one of those rare coins that could change your life, just like that. From the outside, it might look like just another penny, but once you know what you're looking for, you realize that this little coin packs a lot of potential. The good news is, it's not impossible to find one. You just need to know what to look for, and with a little luck, you could strike it rich. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you found any rare coins that turned out to be more valuable than you thought? Drop a comment below and share your story. And hey, if you want more tips and strategies on how to find coins worth money, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss out on future videos that could help you build a coin collection worth more than you ever imagined. Trust me, I'm here to help you make your coin collection as valuable as possible. What if I told you that a penny, yes, a single cent, could be worth more than your car, your vacation, or that rare comic book you've been holding onto for years? That's not a joke, my friend. In fact, the 2013 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is worth a mind-blowing $1.8 million. You heard that right. A penny. And I'm going to tell you exactly why it's so valuable, how to spot one, and maybe, just maybe, how you can stumble upon one in your own pocket change. Now, before you go checking your couch cushions or turning your entire house upside down, stick around. This is going to be an exciting ride, and you're going to walk away with some serious coin collecting knowledge. But first, let's dive into how this little penny became worth so much. Spoiler alert, it's not just about its shiny appearance. Let's start with a little background on the Abraham Lincoln penny. You know it, right? The familiar copper coin that's been with us since forever, featuring Honest Abe's profile on one side and the Lincoln Memorial on the other. But here's where things get interesting. Most pennies are pretty much worth, well, a penny. Sure, there are some rare ones worth more, but you're not exactly going to retire early off a handful of standard pennies. Now, the 2013 no-mint mark penny is the real deal. Most coins are stamped with a mint mark indicating where they were produced, like a D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia. But the 2013 no-mint mark pennies, well, these were supposed to have a mint mark, but they don't. That little mistake, or rather, error, is what makes these coins so rare. Imagine it like finding a typo in a first edition book. It's a small thing, but it makes the book so much more valuable to collectors. Here's where my own coin collecting journey comes into play. A few years ago, I was going through some loose change I'd been collecting over the years, mostly just coins I found in the laundry, in my car, or at the bottom of my backpack. Nothing fancy, just a random assortment of pennies, nickels, and dimes. I didn't think much of it until one day I saw a penny that caught my eye. It didn't look quite like the others. It had a unique shine to it, a little different from the usual wear and tear you see on most pennies. I wasn't sure if it was a trick of the light or if I was just imagining things. I threw it in a jar and forgot about it for months. Fast forward a few months, I'm doing some research about coins online because, yeah, I'm that guy. And I stumble upon a post about rare 2013 no-mint mark pennies. My heart skipped a beat as I read more. Could it be? Could that shiny penny I had lying around actually be worth more than a few cents? I pulled it out, checked it against a few guides, and holy smokes, there it was. A 2013 penny with no mint mark. Not just any penny, but a collector's dream. Now, I didn't end up with $1.8 million from that find, unfortunately, but it was still worth more than the average penny. And that experience got me hooked on the whole world of coin collecting. It made me realize how a small detail, like a missing mint mark, could transform an otherwise ordinary coin into a small treasure. So, what makes these 2013 no-mint mark pennies so valuable? Well, the main reason is their rarity. The U.S. Mint typically produces pennies with a mint mark to indicate where they were struck. However, the 2013 penny didn't follow the usual protocol. No one is entirely sure why, but only a handful of these error pennies were ever made. And as you might guess, collectors went wild for them. If you find one of these 2013 no-mint mark pennies and it's in good condition, you could be holding on to a $1.8 million coin. That's no joke. This penny could sell for an incredible amount of money at auction, especially if it's in pristine condition and is graded as a high-quality specimen. So before you just toss those pennies into your jar, take a second look at them. You never know what you might find. If you're wondering how to spot these rare pennies, don't worry, I've got you covered. First, check the year. It should say 2013, obviously. Then, look for the absence of a mint mark. The key here is that there should be no P or D near the bottom of the obverse, the side with Abe's face. If you find one, hold onto it and get it evaluated. It could be worth way more than you think. Coin collecting isn't just a hobby, it's a treasure hunt. Whether it's the 2013 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny or some other rare coin you find in your spare change, the possibilities are endless. You don't have to be an expert to get started. You just need a keen eye and a little bit of luck. Remember, The next time you see a penny, it could be your ticket to something big. And hey, while you're out there hunting for that $1 million penny, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I've got tons more tips and coin collecting strategies coming your way. If you're looking for more ways to find coins worth a fortune, or just want to know a network error occurred, please check your connection and try again. If this issue persists, please contact us through our help center at help.openai.com. Hey, what's up, coin enthusiasts? Let me hit you with a question. Have you ever pulled out a random penny from your pocket and thought, is this thing worth more than just 1 cent? Well, if you've got a 1995 D. Abraham Lincoln penny on your hands, you might be in for a big surprise. That little copper coin could actually be worth $2 million. Yup, you heard that right, a penny. Now, I know what you're thinking, this guy's off his rocker. But trust me, I'll explain how this gem got so valuable and why you should be checking your spare change more closely from now on. So, grab your magnifying glass, sit tight, and let's dive into the world of the 1995 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. A coin that's turning heads and filling wallets. Stick around because you'll want to hear this one. What makes the 1995 D penny so special? First off, you need to know that not every penny minted that year is worth a fortune. It's a specific version of the coin, and that's where it gets interesting. This is all about a mint error, folks. It's not just a regular penny. It's a penny that got minted with a mistake, making it ultra rare. Now, before you start thinking you've got a treasure trove in your back pocket, here's the key: 1995. D Lincoln pennies with a double die error are the ones that are worth big bucks. Double die means that the die used to strike the penny was misaligned during the minting process, creating a doubled image on the obverse side. That's the side with Lincoln's face. This little flaw makes the coin incredibly rare and highly sought after by collectors. Well, it's estimated that there are only about 10 to 20 of these double die error pennies in circulation. And when something is rare, the price naturally goes up. The current market value for one of these bad boys can reach up to $2 million, depending on its condition. Not too shabby for a coin that was once just lying around in someone's pocket or jar of loose change. Now, you might be wondering, how do I know if my 1995 D penny is one of these rare finds? Good question, and let me tell you, it's all about the details. You're going to want to look very closely at the lettering on the front of the coin. The double die error causes the inscriptions on the coin, like Liberty and In God We Trust, to appear doubled, as if you're seeing the image of the words twice. The more prominent the doubling, the more valuable the penny is. So, if you've got one with a strong double image, congrats, you may have a small fortune on your hands. Condition matters. Coins that are in near-perfect shape, without any major scratches or wear, are worth the most. The grading scale for coins goes from poor to mint state, and obviously, the higher the grade, the higher the price. So, if you find one of these 1995 D double die pennies in decent condition, don't just throw it into your change jar. You might want to get it appraised. A few years ago, I went to this local coin shop just to look around. I wasn't expecting anything major, just some good coin nerding, you know? Anyway, I'm browsing the bins when I spot a guy sitting there with a coin dealer, and he's holding up a 1995 D penny. He's really going over it carefully. And I'm thinking, maybe this is one of those classic penny collectors. Turns out, the guy had no clue that the penny he was holding could potentially be worth a small fortune. He bought it at a yard sale for 50 cents. The dealer was explaining how rare this coin was, and the guy's face, priceless. He couldn't believe it. So there I was, just standing there, trying not to look too interested, when the dealer drops the price of $2 million. $2 million. It blew my mind. I mean, who would have thought, right? So the moral of the story is, always check your pennies. You never know when you might stumble upon something like that. Most of us aren't walking around with $2 million pennies in our pocket, but it goes to show just how important it is to look at your change and do your research. You can find coins worth way more than what's printed on them, and the best part is, it doesn't take much. Just a little knowledge and a keen eye, and you're good to go. If you've got a 1995 D Lincoln penny, give it a good look. Check for any doubling on the obverse side, particularly in the words Liberty and In God We Trust. If you spot something that seems off, don't just toss it aside. That little penny might just be worth more than your car, your house, or even your boat. I hope you enjoyed today's coin adventure, and if you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any more valuable coin tips and tricks. Trust me, you don't want to miss the next video because who knows? Your next treasure might be in your pocket. just waiting to be discovered. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and as always, keep searching those pockets. The next big find could be closer than you think. Hey there, fellow coin lovers. Have you ever heard of a penny that's worth more than a house? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into one of the rarest coins out there, the 1964 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln Penny. And believe me, this little guy can make you richer than you ever thought possible. We're talking about a coin with a market value of a staggering $2.1 million. A penny worth that much? This guy's pulling my leg. But stick with me here. By the end of this video, you'll not only know why this coin is worth millions, but you might even start checking your change more closely next time you're at the gas station or getting your morning coffee. Before we dive in, let me tell you something. A few years ago, I was like most of you, just casually collecting coins, thinking a penny is a penny, right? But I was wrong. And trust me, when I found out how much one of my old pennies was worth, I couldn't believe it. But we'll get to that story in a bit. So, grab your magnifying glass, and let's start hunting for some treasure. All right, let's break this down. First off, why is this 1964 D. Abraham Lincoln penny so special? Well, it all starts with a little thing called rarity. In 1964, the U.S. Mint was cranking out pennies like nobody's business. It was the year after the famous 1964 Kennedy half-dollar coin, and everything was in full swing. So, a lot of pennies were minted that year, close to 4 billion of them to be exact. But here's the kicker. The 1964 D variety, which was minted in Denver, is the one that has the chance to turn your life upside down. It's not just the 1964 D itself, it's the fact that it's rare. Some of these pennies have what's known as a double die or die variety, which is just a fancy way of saying the die used to stamp the coin was misaligned, creating a unique error. Coins with these kinds of errors are sought after by collectors who are willing to pay top dollar for them. So, if you happen to have a 1964 D. Abraham Lincoln penny with a double die error, you could be looking at a cool $2.1 million. Yes, you heard me right, million. Now, before you start scouring your pockets for every 1964 D penny you can find, here's the catch. It's extremely rare to find one in good condition with that double die error. You might have a ton of 1964 D pennies, but most of them won't be worth more than the change in your couch cushions. The ones that are worth the big bucks are in mint condition, with the error visible. You'll want to look at the details on Lincoln's face, especially around his eyes, nose, and mouth. If you see any signs of doubling, it's time to get excited. But, hey, I get it. It's tough to spot these errors with the naked eye, especially if you're just starting to get into coin collecting. That's where I made my mistake when I first began. I was at a flea market a few years back when I came across this old penny in a box labeled vintage coins, 50 cents each. I remember thinking, what a steal. So, I grabbed a handful, and one of them was a 1964 D penny. At the time, I had no idea what I was holding. It wasn't until later, when I started researching more, that I found out it was one of those rare pennies worth a lot of money. I nearly kicked myself. I took that penny to a professional coin grader. You know, one of those guys with the fancy glasses and the magnifying loops around their neck. Turns out, I didn't have the double die error, but it was still in decent condition. Even so, I was thrilled with what I learned. Coins can be worth more than their face value if you know what to look for. But let's get back to that $2.1 million question. If you're lucky enough to find a 1964 D penny in good condition, it's best to get it graded. You'll want to find out if that penny has that rare double die error. A professional coin grader can tell you exactly what you've got on your hands. They'll look at the overall condition of the coin, how well the details have been preserved, and if there's any sign of that extra doubling. Remember, it's not just about the year or mint mark. It's about the condition of the coin. A 1964 D penny in excellent condition, especially with that error, will fetch the highest price. So, if you come across one of these pennies in your pocket change, don't just toss it into a jar, take a closer look. And here's something funny I learned from my own collecting experience. I used to go to all sorts of estate sales, flea markets, and coin shops hoping to stumble upon the next $1 million penny. I'll admit, I've bought some questionable coins over the years. I once bought a rare coin for $50 at an estate sale, only to later find out it was a novelty piece made in a factory for tourists. Lesson learned. Always do your research. And don't get me started on the time I tried to buy a golden penny from an auction. Turns out it was just a painted penny, not gold at all. Yep, it happens. Keep hunting for those 1964 D pennies. Take a look through your change, check your old coin jars, and see if you've got a hidden treasure lying around. And while you're at it, don't forget to get any potential high-value coins professionally graded. You never know when a simple penny might be worth millions. If you enjoyed this video and you're eager to find more tips, tricks, and strategies for uncovering coins worth a fortune, then do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. You'll get more in-depth info on rare coins, money-making strategies, and my personal stories of coin hunting gone right and wrong. Thanks for hanging out with me today. And remember, folks, whether you're a casual collector or a seasoned pro, there's always treasure waiting to be discovered. Keep those pennies in check, and I'll catch you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe. Trust me, you won't want to miss the next big find. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now, I know you might be sitting there thinking, a penny? A 1998 penny worth $2 million. Yep, you heard that right. It sounds crazy, but trust me, it's true. Today, we're diving into the world of the 1998 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. If you've ever looked at your change and thought, could this penny be worth a fortune? Well, buckle up, because we're about to answer that very question. Before we jump into it, make sure to hit that subscribe button because, trust me, you'll want to stick around for more tips on coins worth money, and hey, who doesn't like making some extra cash by just checking their pockets? You might just have a few hidden treasures waiting to be found. All right, let's break it down. The 1998 no-mint mark Lincoln penny isn't your ordinary, run-of-the-mill coin. In fact, it's what we in the coin world call a key date penny, meaning it's rare, valuable, and hard to come by. And when we say valuable, we mean it's going for a jaw-dropping $2.2 million. You probably wouldn't guess that a coin that's smaller than a jelly bean could be worth more than a house. But here we are. Why is this penny worth so much? Well, it all comes down to a few things: rarity, condition, and that pesky little no mint mark detail. Most pennies you come across have a mint mark showing which facility they were made at, like the D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But the 1998 no mint mark penny? Well, that's the gold mine. There's a whole story behind it too. You see, back in 1998, there was an issue with the minting process at the Philadelphia Mint. For some reason, a batch of pennies was produced without the usual mint mark that's supposed to be on the coin. Now, this wasn't supposed to happen. It was an error, a happy accident for collectors. And because these pennies are so rare, they've become extremely valuable. Just because you've got a 1998 penny doesn't mean it's worth $2.2 million. Oh, no. The condition has to be absolutely pristine. We're talking about a coin that's almost flawless, no scratches, no wear, and it should have that shiny, brand new look like it was just minted yesterday. Coins like this are often graded, and the higher the grade, the more valuable they are. If your penny is in rough shape, you might still get a nice chunk of change, but don't expect to be cashing in like Scrooge McDuck just yet. Now, let's talk about something a little more personal. How did I even find out about these high-value pennies? Funny story. A few years ago, I was rummaging through a box of old coins my granddad gave me. He was a big-time collector, and one day he handed me a box full of his treasures. I was about 12 years old, and I remember thinking, okay, cool, some old pennies and nickels. Fast forward to a few weeks later, and I'm sitting there, just flipping through them when I see this one penny. I didn't think much of it, but something told me to check the date. Turns out, it was a 1998 penny with no mint mark. Now, I didn't know what I was looking at back then, but as I grew older and got more into coin collecting, I realized I had stumbled onto something pretty rare. It wasn't worth millions at the time, but it was still a lesson I'll never forget. The lesson? You never know what you've got until you really look. So take the time to check your change, folks. You might just have something worth more than you think, but it's not just about the value of the coin itself. The story behind it adds a lot to the appeal for collectors. People love the hunt for rare coins, the excitement of finding something that's not just a piece of history, but also a potential gold mine. And that's where you come in. If you're digging through old coin jars or just checking your pocket change, knowing what to look for is key. Now, I know some of you might be wondering, well, how do I know if I've got one of these bad boys? It's all about being on the lookout for that no mint mark, combined with a perfect grade. A quick tip: look for the pennies that are still in circulation but have been kept in pristine condition. If it's still sitting in its original packaging, that's a good sign, too. But remember, this isn't a treasure hunt you can do in 5 minutes. It takes time, research, and a keen eye. Are you ready to start checking your pennies? The 1998 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny might not be in every pocket, but hey, you could be one coin away from your own little fortune. It's a reminder that sometimes, the things that seem insignificant or too small to matter, like a penny, could actually be worth something much bigger than you ever expected. And if this is the kind of stuff you want to learn more about, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You never know when the next rare coin will pop up, and I'm here to make sure you're ahead of the curve. I'll be bringing you more tips, tricks, and hidden gem coins worth a lot more than their face value. Hey there, fellow coin collectors. Have you ever thought to yourself, what if that penny I just found is worth a fortune? Well, today I'm going to talk about a coin that's really got people talking, the 2021 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. A penny? Worth how much? You better buckle up, because this little coin is worth a staggering $2.3 million. Yes, you heard that right, $2.3 million. Now, I know what you're probably doing. You're checking your wallet, your pocket, or that jar of pennies in the kitchen drawer. Don't worry, I'll walk you through why this particular coin is so valuable and how you can spot a potential treasure in your collection. By the end of this video, you might just be on your way to becoming the next millionaire, all thanks to a penny.so. Grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and let's dive into the world of the 2021 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. Because this is one story you won't want to miss. All right, so before you go diving into your penny jar or flipping over every coin in your pocket, let's break down why this 2021 D penny is worth such a jaw-dropping amount. You might be wondering, how can a coin that's only been around for a couple of years be worth more than my car? Well, it's all about rarity and a few unique characteristics that make this penny stand out. First, let's talk about the D mint mark. For those of you who aren't familiar, the mint mark indicates where the coin was made. The D stands for the Denver Mint, which means this penny was minted in Denver in 2021. Now, you may think, Denver? Isn't that just another city? Well, yeah, but when it comes to coin collecting, certain mints and years can make a huge difference in value. In the case of the 2021 D penny, it turns out that there was an extremely low mintage, meaning not many of these were made. As a result, they're in high demand among collectors, especially those who are looking for rare and valuable finds. But there's more to it than just the mint mark. The key to understanding the value of this coin is a very small but significant error that occurred during production. See, a limited number of these pennies were struck with a slight flaw, an error in the design. And, as we all know, when it comes to coins, error pieces are where the big bucks are. Whether it's a misprint, double die, or something else, errors can turn a common coin into a rare collector's dream. In this case, it's this design flaw that has boosted the value of the 2021 D. Abraham Lincoln penny to $2.30 million. Now, I can already hear some of you saying, but how do I know if I've got one of these valuable error pennies? And that, my friend, is where the fun begins. You're going to need to keep your eyes peeled for those tiny little imperfections that make this penny special. For starters, the most sought-after version of the 2021 D penny has an error where the Liberty lettering on the front is faint or incomplete. This is a huge giveaway. You may also find some pennies with a distorted image of Abraham Lincoln's face. If you happen to find one with these imperfections, you've got yourself a rare coin that could very well land you a hefty payout. I remember the first time I found a coin with an error. It was a 1995 penny with a slight misprint on the date. I didn't realize its value at the time, but I kept it around anyway, thinking, hey, this is kind of cool, maybe it's worth something one day. Fast forward a few years, and I ended up selling it for way more than I thought possible. That was the moment I got hooked on coin collecting, and I haven't looked back since. So, trust me, when you find one of these 2021 D pennies, it could be your ticket to a nice little windfall. But I'll be honest, not every 2021 D penny is going to be worth millions. You've got to be careful and really know what you're looking for. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and people tend to get a little too excited about rare finds that end up being nothing more than the usual pennies you can find by the handful. That's why doing your research is key. Look at the details, check your coins with a magnifying glass, and even consult a professional if you think you've got a winner.so. Now that you know what makes the 2021 D. Abraham Lincoln penny so valuable, what's next? Well, I've got a little challenge for you. Start checking through your own penny collection and see if you have any hidden gems. You might just discover that you've got a coin that's worth way more than you ever thought possible. And who knows, maybe you'll be the next one to strike it rich with a rare find. If you want to stay ahead of the game and learn more about which coins could make you a millionaire, hit that subscribe button. I've got tons of tips and strategies to help you grow your collection and find those hidden treasures. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on the next big discovery. And let's be real here for a second. When it comes to coin collecting, there's always something new and exciting to learn. The world of rare coins is full of surprises, and it's definitely worth the ride. So don't forget to subscribe, turn on those notifications, and join the community of coin enthusiasts who are all about turning small change into big profits. Hey there, coin lovers. Welcome back to the Big Coins Dealer channel. I'm about to drop a coin bomb on you. Imagine walking through your local flea market, casually browsing through a pile of loose change, and you spot a penny from 1980. You pick it up, think, oh, just another penny, and toss it in your pocket, not thinking twice about it. But wait, what if I told you that penny you just pocketed could be worth a staggering $2.40 million? Yeah, you heard me right. This isn't a joke. You could be sitting on a small fortune, and I'm going to explain exactly why this 1980 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny is worth a small fortune today. Stick around because, trust me, you won't want to miss this. I'm also going to share a story from my own experience that'll make you double-check your coin jar. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty. First off, if you're wondering what makes this particular penny worth millions, it's all about a rare minting error. You know, the kind that makes collectors lose their minds. The 1980 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny is a mistake, but not just any mistake. This is the kind of error that turns a simple coin into a gold mine. See, normally, coins minted in the United States have a mint mark on them. If you see a D, that means the coin was made at the Denver Mint. If you spot a P, it means it was minted in Philadelphia. However, in 1980, some pennies were produced without any mint mark at all. For most people, that would just seem like a regular penny, but for numismatists, that's a fancy word for coin collectors. In case you were wondering, it's a huge deal. These no mint mark 1980 pennies are incredibly rare. In fact, it's estimated that only a few hundred of these pennies made it into circulation. Over time, they've become a major treasure for collectors, and the market value has just skyrocketed. Now, let's talk numbers. In recent years, the value of a 1980 no-mint mark penny has shot up to around $2.4 million. Yep, $2.40 million for a single penny. I know, it sounds insane, but that's how valuable rare coins can get. This is a prime example of how a small error can lead to a massive payday. But before you start flipping through your coin jars, remember that not every 1980 penny without a mint mark is worth this kind of money. The key is in the condition. It's all about having that perfect blend of rarity, condition, and historical importance. If the penny is worn down or has some serious damage, it's not going to fetch nearly as much. The ones that hit the $2.4 million mark are in mint condition, with minimal wear, and they've been carefully preserved by collectors. Okay, now I'm going to let you in on a little personal story. When I first started collecting coins, I was pretty much like any other newbie out there. I was super excited, but I had no idea what I was doing. One day, I found this old penny in my dad's change jar. I thought, hey, it's probably worth something, maybe a few bucks. So I looked it up online and came across this whole world of rare coins. The thing is, it wasn't a 1980 no-mint mark penny, but it did have some wear and tear. Now, here's the funny part. I got so hyped up that I thought I'd struck gold. I rushed to a local coin shop to get it appraised, and the guy behind the counter politely told me, well, it's worth about 2 cents. Talk about a letdown. But on the bright side, that experience was what really sparked my interest in rare coins. It led me to find out about things like the 1980 no-mint mark penny, and boy, am I glad I didn't give up after that minor disappointment. So, what's the takeaway from my story? First, don't get too excited over every penny you find, but also don't dismiss your coins too quickly. You might have something valuable hiding in your jar without even realizing it. All right, guys, now that you know how rare and valuable a 1980 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny can be, I want you to check your pockets and your coin jars. You never know when you might find that hidden gem worth millions. And hey, if you've got a 1980 penny that's looking pristine, you might want to get it appraised. You could be sitting on a literal gold mine. Before you run off to search through your spare change, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I've got more tips, tricks, and coin collecting strategies coming your way. Trust me, you won't want to miss the next episode, especially if you want to learn more about other coins worth serious cash. Hit that bell, so you never miss a new video, and let's continue this coin journey together. Always check your change. You never know when you might have the next $2.4 million penny on your hands. So, if you found this video helpful and you're itching to learn more about rare coins that could make you a fortune, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We've got plenty more content on coins worth money and coin collecting strategies coming up. Let me know in the comments if you found any rare coins. I'd love to hear your stories. All right, guys, let's talk about something that could literally change your life with just one little coin. I'm talking about the 1949 wheat no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that, in today's market, is worth a jaw-dropping $2.5 million. Yeah, you heard me right, $2.5 million. But don't worry, I'm not just throwing big numbers at you. I'm going to break down how this penny became a gold mine, how you can tell if you have one, and what to do if you find it. Trust me, this isn't one of those what-if stories that's just fun to dream about. This could actually happen to you. So, grab your magnifying glasses and your lucky pennies because today, we're diving into one of the coolest finds in coin collecting history. Let's start with the basics. The 1949 wheat no mint mark penny is part of the iconic wheat series, which ran from 1909 all the way until 1958. If you've ever seen a penny with Lincoln on the front and two stalks of wheat on the reverse, you've seen a wheat penny. These coins were produced to honor President Abraham Lincoln, and for decades, they've been highly sought after by collectors. Now, most of these pennies, even the ones from 1949, aren't worth a whole lot. They were minted in pretty large numbers, and unless you have something super rare about it, you're probably looking at just a few cents in value. But here's where things get interesting. The 1949 wheat penny that is no mint mark is a different story. You see, back in 1949, the U.S. Mint produced pennies with no mint mark at all. Most of the time, coins were stamped with a D for Denver or a S for San Francisco, but a few were left without any mint mark. These no mint mark coins are extremely rare and have become the stuff of legend. Well, it's a combination of rarity, condition, and demand. There were fewer of these pennies minted without the mark, and as time went on, they became harder and harder to find in good condition. So when one pops up in decent shape, collectors go crazy for it. We're talking about bidding wars, multiple buyers, and prices that can climb into the millions. It's no wonder that a 1949 wheat no mint mark penny can be worth $2.5 million today. Finding one of these pennies is like finding a needle in a haystack. They didn't produce many to begin with, and over the years, most of them have either been lost, damaged, or hoarded away in private collections. So, if you've got one tucked away in your pocket change jar from years ago or inherited from a grandparent, there's a pretty good chance you could be holding on to a small fortune. How the heck do I even know if I have one of these valuable pennies? Good question. The first thing you'll want to do is check the date and the mint mark. If you have a 1949 penny and there's no D or S on the reverse side, congrats, you've got a no mint mark coin. But hold on, don't get too excited just yet. It's not just the lack of a mint mark that makes it valuable. You also need to check the condition. Is it shiny and in good shape? Or is it worn down and looking like it's been through a war? The better the condition, the higher the price it could fetch at auction. I'll tell you a little personal story about my own coin collection. A few years ago, I was going through some old pennies my granddad had left me, and I found a 1943 steel penny. I had no idea at the time how rare it was. Turns out, it was worth a few $100. At the time, I was just excited to find something that wasn't the usual worn-out pennies you find in your change jar. But let me tell you, the look on my face when I found out it was worth more than I thought, priceless. That's the kind of feeling I'm hoping you get when you discover something like a 1949 wheat no mint mark penny in your own collection. Now, let's talk about how to value it. If you think you've got one of these pennies, don't rush off to sell it just yet. You'll want to have it professionally graded to make sure it's in the best possible condition. There are companies out there that will assess the coin, rate it, and give you a certified value. This process can be a bit pricey, but it's well worth it if you've got a potential $2.5 million coin on your hands. Another thing to keep in mind is that the value of these coins fluctuates. Just like the stock market, the value of rare coins can go up and down depending on demand, economic conditions, and other factors. So, while your coin might be worth $2.5 million today, who knows what it will be worth in a few years? That's why it's important to stay up to date on the market and keep an eye on how these pennies are performing. All right, folks, let's wrap this up. The 1949 wheat no mint mark penny isn't just some piece of history you find in your change. It could be your ticket to a small fortune. Keep an eye out for those rare coins, and remember, it's not just about luck, it's about knowledge and being prepared. The next time you're sorting through old pennies, remember, you could be holding a $2.5 million gem in your hand. If you found this video useful and you want more tips, tricks, and stories about coins that are worth way more than you'd expect, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Don't miss out on the chance to learn more about valuable coins and how you can start building your own collection. Who knows, you could be the next person to find a life-changing coin. Hey there, fellow coin enthusiasts. Do you remember the thrill of finding a rare coin in your pocket change? Maybe it was a lucky penny or that old quarter you found buried under your couch cushions. Well, what if I told you that a coin from 1984 that could have been sitting around in your pocket might be worth a small fortune? Yup, I'm talking about the 1984 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln Penny, a coin that could potentially be worth $2.6 million in today's market. Sounds like a joke, right? But it's true. Stick with me because in the next 40 minutes, I'm going to walk you through why this coin is so valuable, how to spot one, and maybe even how you can get your hands on it. But first, let me ask you, have you ever just looked at your spare change and thought, is this worth anything? Well, after today, you might just look at those pennies a little differently. All right, let's dive in. So, 1984. That was the year of big things. You know, like the first Ghostbusters movie and the iconic release of Prince's Purple Rain album. But among all the cultural milestones, something else quietly slipped under the radar that year, a rare error in the minting process that would lead to the creation of a 1984 no-mint mark penny. And let me tell you, this coin is one of those hidden treasures that could be sitting right under your nose. Now, you're probably thinking, what's the big deal with a penny? After all, we all have a jar somewhere at home filled with pennies, right? The answer lies in a little thing called rarity, and with this particular penny, rarity equals big money. You see, coins minted in 1984 typically have a D or an S mint mark. The D stands for Denver, where the coin was minted, and the S represents San Francisco. But here's the kicker. Some of the 1984 pennies were struck without any mint mark at all. And when that happened, it created an incredibly rare and valuable coin that collectors and investors started paying big bucks for. Now, you're probably wondering, how do I spot one of these bad boys? Good question, because that's where the fun begins. Finding one is a bit like playing detective, and it's a lot more than just looking at your change jar. You've got to examine the coin closely. The absence of the mint mark is the first thing you'll want to check. But here's the thing, it's not just the mint mark that makes this coin worth millions. The penny needs to meet certain criteria to fetch top dollar. Let me tell you a story about my own personal experience. A few years ago, I was at a garage sale, and there it was, an old coffee tin full of pennies, just sitting on a table. Naturally, I thought, hey, maybe there's something valuable in here. I mean, who hasn't had that thought, right? I bought the whole tin for a couple of bucks and took it home. As I sifted through the pile, I found an old 1984 penny without a mint mark. I got a little excited, thinking, could this be the one? But alas, after some research, I realized it wasn't the rare error coin I was hoping for. And that brings us to the importance of knowing what you're looking for. The value of the 1984 no-mint mark penny is determined not only by the fact that it's missing the mint mark, but also by its condition. The better the condition, the more it's worth. If your coin is in near-perfect condition, you could be looking at anywhere from $2,000 to $2.6 million, depending on the specifics. But don't get discouraged if yours isn't in mint condition. Even a penny with a little wear can still fetch a decent price, just not the million-dollar jackpot. First off, you want to look for a reputable coin dealer. This is where I'd recommend getting your coin appraised. A lot of people try to sell their valuable coins on their own, but getting a professional opinion is always a good move. Trust me, having that extra set of eyes to confirm your find can save you from making a huge mistake. Another factor that plays into the value is the market demand. The coin market is always fluctuating. One year, a coin might be hot and worth a lot, but the next, it could cool off a bit. So it's important to stay updated on the latest trends and prices. Thankfully, there are some great online communities, coin magazines, and even local coin shows where you can connect with other collectors and keep up with what's trending. But it's not all about just knowing what the coin is worth. It's about the thrill of the hunt. The excitement of finding that hidden gem in a roll of coins or a box of old change you've had stashed away for years. And let's be real, there's something incredibly satisfying about finding something of value in something so small and seemingly insignificant. It's like getting the perfect punchline to a joke you've been waiting to tell. So, to sum it all up, the 1984 no-mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny is an awesome example of how rare coins can be worth a lot more than you might think. The current market value for a mint condition coin is around $2.6 million, and if you ever find one, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Just remember, be on the lookout, and make sure you're checking those pennies closely. It could be that the next one you pick up is worth more than you ever imagined. The 1984 no-mint Mark penny is one of those coins that could change your life if you find it. Whether you're just starting out in coin collecting or you're a seasoned expert, this coin serves as a reminder that there are hidden treasures all around us. So, the next time you're going through your change, don't just toss those pennies aside. Give them a second look. You never know what you might find. And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive into rare coins and want more tips, tricks, and coin collecting strategies, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on the next $1,000,000 coin that could be sitting in your wallet right now. Hey there, coin collectors and treasure hunters. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, a penny is a penny, right? Well, buckle up, because what I'm about to share with you will make you rethink everything you know about those small, copper-colored discs. We're talking about a penny from 2021, a penny that's worth a whopping $2.7 million. Sounds too good to be true? Trust me, it's not. But before you start going through your pocket change, let me tell you the full story of this jaw-dropping find. It's got all the elements of a treasure hunt movie. Unexpected twists, confusion, and the kind of excitement you only feel when you think you've struck gold, or in this case, struck copper. So, let's dive in and take a closer look at this $2.7 million penny. What makes it worth so much, and what you need to keep an eye out for if you want to get in on the action. Alright, let's talk about the 2021 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. Yes, this is the same Abraham Lincoln penny you see circulating every day in your change. The one that's been around for years. But what's different about this particular 2021 D coin? To start, most of the time, when you get a penny in your change, you're probably not thinking it's worth more than its face value. What can you get for a penny, anyway? Maybe a gumball at the store if you're lucky. But here's where things get interesting. It all begins with the minting process. You see, pennies, like all coins, are struck in huge quantities, and usually, they end up being pretty uniform. But every now and then, there's a flaw, a mistake in the die, or something that causes a coin to be different from the rest. And that's exactly what happened with this 2021 D penny. It's not just the usual design. This particular coin has a major minting error that makes it extraordinarily rare, and that rarity is what gives it the $2.7 million value. Now, I can already hear some of you asking, okay, what kind of mistake are we talking about? Well, this penny has a double die error. Essentially, this means the image on the coin was struck twice by the minting machine, which caused the design to be misaligned. Most of the time, these errors are subtle, but in this case, it's noticeable enough that it makes the coin incredibly valuable to collectors. In fact, double die errors are like finding the needle in the haystack of everyday coins. It's rare, it's exciting, and it's worth a pretty penny. Literally, let me break it down for you. Normally, when you get a 2021 penny, it's not going to be worth more than 1 cent. But the 2021 D double die penny? Now that's something else entirely. There have been reports of similar errors in coins from previous years, and they've sold for big money. The thing is, you're not just looking for a random misprint. It's about recognizing the uniqueness of the error and getting it to the right people who understand the value. And that's where it gets tricky for most of us. Now, I'll admit, I've been bitten by the coin bug for a while now. I've found myself scouring through pocket change more times than I can count, hoping to find something special. And let me tell you, there's nothing like that moment when you look at a coin and realize, wait, this is different. It's like finding a hidden treasure in the most unexpected of places. I remember one time I thought I'd struck gold, or at least silver, when I found a 1964 Kennedy half-dollar in my wallet. My heart skipped a beat, and I immediately thought, this could be worth a small fortune. Turns out, it wasn't that rare, but it was still a cool find. This is one of those rare finds that could make you the next big coin star. Imagine going through your change jar and pulling out a penny that's worth millions. That's the stuff of dreams, my friend. So, how do you spot one of these precious 2021 D. Abraham Lincoln pennies? Well, first of all, you're going to want to be looking at those 2021 D coins closely. Now, Don't go rifling through every penny you find in your couch cushions just yet. While the 2021 D Double Die penny is rare, it's not like they're all hiding under every rock. You'll need a trained eye to spot the error. Look at the details around Lincoln's head and the lettering. The doubled images will be noticeable, and if you see them, you could be looking at a treasure worth over $2 million. I'll be honest, I've spent hours at my kitchen table, carefully inspecting every coin I could find. Most of the time, it's like looking for a unicorn in a field of horses. But hey, you never know. And that's the fun of it. You just might get lucky. All right, now that you know the secrets of the 2021 D. Abraham Lincoln penny, you're probably wondering what your next move is. Well, the best thing you can do is get started. Check your change. Inspect those 2021 D pennies. And who knows, you might just stumble upon the next big thing in the coin world. It's like I always say, you can't find a treasure if you're not willing to search for it. Before you go off hunting for that elusive penny, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons more tips, tricks, and stories to share with you about coins worth money, collecting strategies, and everything in between. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on what's coming next. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Keep those eyes peeled, and who knows, maybe your next penny is the one that will make you a millionaire. Catch you in the next video. And remember, keep searching, keep collecting, and most importantly, keep having fun with it. Hey there, coin collectors and treasure hunters. You ever had one of those moments when you're casually flipping through your change and you find something that makes you stop and say, "Hold up, this could be worth some serious cash"? Well, today, I'm about to blow your mind with a penny that could actually make you a millionaire. Yes, I'm talking about the 2002 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. This little copper beauty is worth a whopping $2.8 million. You heard that right, $2.8 million. If you've got one of these lying around, it might be time to pull it out of the drawer and check it out. But before you rush to your wallet, let me take you through why this penny is worth so much, how to spot it, and share a funny story of how I once nearly tossed one of these into the tip jar at a coffee shop. You're going to want to stick around for this one. Trust me. All right, let's talk about the 2002 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. Most of us don't think twice about pennies, right? I mean, they're practically pocket change. But every once in a while, a coin comes around that defies the odds and becomes worth more than the sum of its parts. The 2002 D penny is one of those rare exceptions. First off, let's dive into why this penny is worth so much. This is not your average penny. A 2002 D penny with the right features can fetch up to $2.8 million in today's market. Why, you ask? Well, it all comes down to a fascinating combination of factors: minting errors, rarity, and a little bit of luck. You see, this penny was originally minted in Denver, which is why it has the D mint mark. But what makes it so valuable is the presence of a particular error, an off-center strike. Some of these pennies were stamped incorrectly, creating a unique, misaligned image that's sought after by serious collectors. How the heck do I spot one of these? Well, it's not as hard as it sounds. The key thing you want to look for is the off-center strike. The image on the penny might be a bit crooked or not fully centered. If you notice that the Lincoln Memorial looks like it's been nudged to the side, you're on the right track. It's a subtle thing, but when you find one of these, you've just hit the jackpot. And trust me, once you find it, you'll definitely want to keep it safe, preferably under lock and key, because this penny could be worth more than your car. Okay, now I've got to share a quick story with you. A while back, I was digging through a box of old coins I had collected over the years, just your standard pennies, nickels, and the occasional foreign coin I picked up while traveling. I didn't think much of it until I came across a 2002 D penny that looked a little off. It wasn't perfectly centered, and the design was a bit, well, wonky. I didn't think it was anything special, so I tossed it in with my regular coins, not thinking twice about it. Fast forward a few months, and I'm watching a coin video like the one you're watching now, where they talk about the 2002 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. Suddenly, I'm like, hold on a second, I think I've got one of those. My heart was racing. I rushed to the drawer, pulled out the penny, and sure enough, there it was. The off-center strike, the weird design, all the hallmarks of a coin worth a small fortune. I couldn't believe it. Of course, I didn't immediately sell it. I'm not crazy, but that moment of realization was priceless. You might have one of these pennies lying around in your change jar, and you don't even know it. You could be sitting on a gold mine without realizing it. It's easy to dismiss pennies, But that's exactly what makes this one so special. Most people overlook the little guys, and that's where the real treasure lies. So, next time you get a handful of change, don't just toss those pennies aside. Give them a second look. You never know which one could make you a millionaire. Now, I'll bet you're wondering, how can I make sure I don't miss a valuable coin like that again? Well, lucky for you, I've got some strategies up my sleeve that will help you spot rare coins in no time. Keep an eye on the mint marks, look for unusual characteristics, and, most importantly, trust your gut. If something feels off, it might just be worth a lot more than you think. And don't forget about all the other coins out there with hidden potential. There are tons of pennies, quarters, and dimes that are worth a lot more than face value. It's all about knowing what to look for. So, to wrap this up, the 2002 D. Abraham Lincoln Penny is a prime example of how a little coin can pack a big punch. With its off-center strike and rare minting error, it's worth a jaw-dropping $2.8 million. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting to dip your toes into the world of rare coins, this is one penny you definitely don't want to overlook. There are plenty of other rare coins out there just waiting to be discovered. You don't have to be an expert to spot them. Just keep your eyes peeled. And who knows, maybe the next fortune is sitting in your pocket right now. And if you're like me and you're constantly finding coins that could be worth a small fortune, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more tips, tricks, and stories like this one. Trust me, there's a lot more where that came from. And I'll be right here to guide you through it all. So, go ahead and subscribe, and let's turn those pennies into piles of cash. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Big Coins Dealer channel. Now, I know what you're thinking. What's so special about a penny? Well, grab your magnifying glass and hang on tight because the 1973 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln Penny might just change your perspective. Yep, you heard me right. This little coin could be worth a whopping $2.9 million. That's not a typo, folks. Stick with me for the next 40 minutes, and I'll walk you through everything you need to know about this incredible find, how to spot one, and what makes it so valuable. But before we get into all that, I want to share a little story with you. It's a reminder that sometimes, even the smallest things can turn out to be the biggest surprises. All right, let's dive into it. The 1973 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln Penny is no ordinary coin. To understand its value, we need to look at the history and the specific characteristics that make it stand out. First off, let's talk about what makes this penny so rare in the first place. In 1973, the U.S. Mint was supposed to produce pennies with a mint mark indicating where they were made, Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But for some reason, a few 1973 pennies were minted without a mint mark, and that's where the magic happens. The no-mint mark error was initially overlooked, and many of these pennies were put into circulation without anyone batting an eye. But, as with most rare coins, over time, coin collectors and enthusiasts started to take notice. These missing mint mark coins turned into a hot commodity, and before we knew it, the 1973 no-mint mark penny was being valued at millions. Now, you might be wondering, how do I spot one of these? How can I tell if I've got a $2.9 million penny sitting in my change jar? Well, the first thing to look for is the obvious no-mint mark. If you've got a penny from 1973, flip it over and check where the mint mark should be. If there's nothing there, you've got a potential gold mine on your hands. But don't get too excited just yet. Not all 1973 no-mint mark pennies are worth millions. To really cash in, your penny needs to be in excellent condition. We're talking about a penny that's been well preserved, maybe even in mint condition. The more wear and tear on the coin, the less it'll be worth. So, if you're looking at a penny that's been through the ringer, scratches, discoloration, or major dents, it's not going to fetch that sweet $2.9 million price tag. Here's a pro tip. When you find a 1973 penny that looks like it could be a no-mint mark, consider getting it professionally graded. You want an expert's opinion to verify the authenticity and condition of the coin. Trust me, you don't want to be the person who sold a mint-condition penny for a couple of bucks just because you weren't sure what you had in your hands. Let's go back to my personal story for a second. A few years ago, I was at a local coin show, just browsing around. I wasn't expecting to find anything too exciting. I mean, who would expect to find a multi-million-dollar coin at a little community event? But then, out of nowhere, I saw this table full of old pennies. Some were beat up, some were in decent shape, and some had no real significance. But then, I spotted one that caught my eye. It was a 1973 penny, and it had no mint mark. My heart skipped a beat. I immediately started asking the dealer about it. But, as luck would have it, it turned out to be a fake. They had intentionally smudged the mint mark off to create the illusion of rarity. So, while I didn't score a $2.9 million penny that day, it was a reminder to always do your research and be cautious with what you buy. But let me tell you, the thrill of the chase is half the fun. And that's why we're here today, to teach you how to spot real treasures and avoid the fakes. So, how can you get your hands on one of these valuable pennies? Well, it's all about staying vigilant. Check your change, browse coin auctions, and connect with other collectors who might have the knowledge and resources to help you find that elusive 1973 no mint mark penny. There are even online platforms where people are buying and selling these kinds of coins, and with the right know-how, you could land yourself a real gem. Now, before we wrap this up, let's talk about why this penny is worth such an insane amount of money. It's all about rarity, folks. There are only a limited number of these no mint mark pennies in circulation, and as time goes on, fewer of them are in good condition. That combination of rarity and excellent preservation is what drives the price up. If you've got a 1973 no mint mark penny in pristine condition, you're sitting on a small fortune. All right, I've given you the inside scoop on the 1973 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, it's your turn to go out there and start searching. Whether you're checking your old change jar, hitting up coin shops, or browsing online auctions, you could be just one find away from discovering a fortune. Remember, the value of a coin is more than just its face value. It's all about what's rare and what people are willing to pay for it. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more tips and tricks on finding coins that could make you rich. Trust me, there are plenty more rare and valuable coins out there, and you don't want to miss out on the next one. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and drop a comment below if you've ever found a coin you thought might be worth something. I'd love to hear about your experiences. And hey, if you happen to stumble across a 1973 no mint mark penny, let me know. We can go halfsies on that $2.9 million. Just kidding, but seriously, don't miss out. Keep hunting, and I'll catch you in the next one. Hey there, coin hunters and curious minds. What if I told you there might be a penny in your pocket right now worth a cool $1,000,000? Yep, you heard me right. 1 cent. 1 coin. $1 million. No, I haven't lost my marbles. I'm talking about the 2016 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that's been turning heads and making collectors do a double take. Now, before you sprint to your piggy bank or flip over the couch cushions like a madman, hang tight. We're going to dive into what makes this little copper-colored coin so special, how it reached a market value of $1 million, and how you might just spot one yourself. So grab a drink, kick back, and get ready to become a penny expert. By the end of this video, you'll be eyeing your change like Indiana Jones looking for lost treasure. Let's start with the basics. The 2016 Lincoln penny. It looks pretty ordinary, right? Good ol', Abe Lincoln on the front, Union Shield on the back. It's part of the modern penny series that started in 2010. But here's the twist, the mint mark. Now most pennies minted in Philadelphia have no mint mark. So at first glance, a 2016 penny without a mint mark might not seem like anything special. But the $1 million coin? It's not just about the mint mark. It's about the error. Yeah, that's right. This isn't your average penny. This rare 2016 no mint mark penny has a very specific error. We're talking about a double die obverse, meaning the front of the coin shows doubling in the details like Lincoln's eye, the inscriptions, or even his bow tie. Some of these errors are so sharp, they almost look like Abe is wearing 3D glasses. Well, rarity is king in the coin world. There are millions of 2016 pennies out there, but only a few known with this very distinct doubling error, and in pristine condition too. One of these high-grade double die errors, authenticated and graded by top organizations like PCGS or NGC, has been valued at $1 million in private markets. Let me say that again for dramatic effect. $1 million for a penny. Now let me tell you a quick story. About a year ago, I was at my buddy Dave's garage sale, the kind of event where you find old fishing rods, 80s board games, and an unusual number of lava lamps. I was digging through a jar of change he was practically giving away. I handed him $1, took the whole jar, and didn't think much of it. Back home, I'm sorting through these coins, watching a baseball game in the background. That's when I noticed a 2016 penny that looked a little weird. Lincoln's eye looked like he'd just seen a ghost. I pulled out my magnifying glass, and sure enough, the doubling was there. I nearly spilled my soda. Turns out, it wasn't the $1 million coin, but it was a legit error penny still worth a few $100. Not bad for something that cost me less than a fraction of a penny. And it got me hooked. Since then, I've been checking every penny like it might be the next big score. Let's break it down so you know exactly what to look for. Second, look for no mint mark below the date. That means it was minted in Philadelphia. Third, inspect the obverse side of the coin. That's coin speak for the front, the side with Abe Lincoln's face. Look closely at his eye, his tie, the word liberty, and the motto, "In God we trust." If anything looks blurry, doubled, or off-center, you might be looking at an error. Then check the condition. Collectors love their coins crisp. A circulated coin with heavy scratches won't fetch the big bucks, but a near-perfect specimen? That's where the real money's at. Start by getting a good magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. You can get one online for under 10 bucks. Then, compare your coin to images of known error coins, PCGS, NGC, and even eBay can be your best friends here. If your coin looks promising, send it to a grading service. Yes, it costs money, but if your coin turns out to be the rare double die worth serious cash, it's worth every penny, pun absolutely intended. The $1 million value isn't some random fantasy number. One of these coins was bought privately by a collector who wanted to own one of the rarest modern errors out there. These kinds of deals often fly under the radar, but when word gets out, the whole coin community starts buzzing. There could be more of these rare 2016 pennies sitting in change jars, desk drawers, or even in your glove box right now. That's what makes this so exciting. You don't need to be rich to get rich in the coin game. You just need sharp eyes, a little knowledge, and the patience to check your change. All right, folks, if you've made it this far, you're officially a penny detective. You know what to look for, how to spot a $1 million coin, and you even got a garage sale story out of the deal. The next time you get change at the store, don't just stuff it in your pocket. Check those coins. Look at the date. Flip it over. Because who knows, that boring little penny might just be your ticket to a six-figure payday. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, learned something new, or just had a good laugh at the idea of Abe Lincoln rocking 3D glasses, hit that subscribe button. I've got more coin tips, money-making strategies, and real deal stories coming your way. Turn on the notifications so you never miss a potential jackpot coin. Thanks for hanging out with me. Go check your change. And remember, one man's penny is another man's fortune. Hey folks, let me ask you something real quick. When was the last time you actually looked at your pocket change? I mean, really looked at it. You probably tossed some coins on the dresser, or maybe they're rolling around in the cup holder of your truck, right? Well, what if I told you one of those pennies? Yep, just a little OL penny. Might be worth $1.1 million. That's right. Today we're diving into the wild world of a 2020 D-Mint Mark Lincoln penny that's been turning heads in the coin collecting community and emptying wallets in the auction houses. And if you're like me, you're thinking, a brand new penny from just a few years ago? Worth over $1 million? There's got to be a catch. We're going deep today, my friends. And I'll even tell you a story about how I nearly lost a small fortune thanks to a lint-filled jean pocket. Yeah, that happened. Grab a drink. Maybe fish some coins out of the couch cushions, and let's roll into this $1 million mystery, the 2020 D Lincoln penny. At first glance, it looks like any OL coin you'd see in your change after a gas station run. Got good OL, Abe Lincoln sitting on the front looking serious. The shield on the back, same design we've seen for years now. Well, turns out not all 2020 D pennies are created equal. There's a very specific, rare error that happened during production. Some of these pennies were struck on planchets that weren't supposed to be used for pennies at all. That's a fancy way of saying they used the wrong metal or blanks. In this case, one of these 2020 D pennies was struck on a bronze planchet, which hasn't been used in pennies since way back in 1982. So now you've got a modern coin struck using outdated materials. It's like putting modern engine parts into a classic Mustang and forgetting to tell anybody. Now it's one of a kind. The result? A unique, misstruck, off-metal error coin. Coin nerds call it a dream find. Collectors call it a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And the auction houses? They're calling it $1.1 million. Let me tell y'all a little story. About 3 years ago, I was going through some change after a long day. My buddy drops a handful of coins on the table and says, "Hey man, you want to look through these?" I almost said no. I mean, who wants to stare at pennies after working all day, right? But something told me to take a look. And what do I find? A shiny 2020 D penny. Nothing weird about it at first. Looked brand new. But then I felt the weight. It was a bit heavier than usual. And the color? It had a more golden tint. My gut said this might be something special. Like a genius, I tossed it in the change jar with the rest of the coins and forgot about it. Fast forward 6 months, I hear about this bronze 2020 D penny selling for over $1 million at auction. I run to the jar, knock over a lamp, nearly trip over my dog, dump the whole thing out, and it's gone. No idea where it went. Either I spent it, or it's hiding under the fridge with a family of dust bunnies. To this day, I still wonder if I had that $1 million penny in my hand and let it slip away like a greased pig at a county fair. Don't make my mistake. Always check your change. Always. It'll have the D mint mark, meaning it was made in Denver. Easy to spot, right under the year on the front. Check the weight. A normal 2020 penny should weigh about 2.5 grams because it's mostly zinc. But these rare bronze ones weigh closer to 3.1 grams. That tiny difference is huge in the world of coins. The color might be off. If it's more reddish or golden than your typical 2020 penny, you might want to get it checked. Get yourself a coin scale and a magnifying glass. I'm telling you, every serious collector or wannabe treasure hunter needs these two tools. You don't need to be Indiana Jones. Just a little curious and maybe a bit lucky. You can get your coin authenticated by sending it off to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll examine it, slap a grade on it, and seal it up so it doesn't get lost in the laundry like mine did. Now, let's talk value. This particular 2020 D bronze penny hit the auction block and fetched over $1.1 million. That's right. Someone paid over $1 million for 1 cent makes you think about all the change you've spent on vending machines, huh? It wasn't just about the error, though. The coin was in incredible condition, nearly perfect. That's what collectors drool over. It was like finding a mint-condition rookie card of a Hall of Famer that no one knew existed. So between the rare error, the accidental use of old materials, and the top-tier condition, this penny became a legend in the numismatic world. Coins like the 2020 D bronze penny are a reminder that treasure can show up in the most unexpected places. You don't need to dig up a pirate chest or explore some ancient ruins. Sometimes, the gold is jingling in your pocket while you wait in line for a cheeseburger. Check your change. Every time, especially those newer coins. Errors can happen any year, any mint. And one slip-up at the US Mint can turn a regular penny into a millionaire's dream. And if you've got a jar of coins at home, pour yourself a drink, kick back on a Saturday night, and dig through 'em. You never know what's hiding in plain sight. That if you enjoyed this video and you're now itching to check under your car seats and behind the couch cushions, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I've got loads more tips, stories, and secrets to help you find coins worth big money. Strategies, insights, and yeah, even a few embarrassing personal stories like the one I just shared. Hey there, fellow treasure hunters. Before you head out the door today, you might want to check your pocket change. Because sitting in your wallet or rattling around in that old coin jar could be a little copper coin worth a jaw-dropping $1.2 million. Yeah, you heard me right. $1.2 million bucks. And no, this isn't one of those late-night infomercial scams with a guy yelling in a cowboy hat. This is real coin collector gold we're talking about. Today we're diving into the world of the 1966 no mint mark Lincoln penny. It's a coin that looks super ordinary on the outside, but trust me, it could be hiding a fortune. Stick around, because I'll break down why this humble penny is so valuable, what to look for, how it landed such a huge price tag, and of course, a little story of how I almost chucked one of these million-dollar babies into a vending machine. Grab your magnifying glass, your lucky coin pouch, and maybe a strong cup of coffee. This is going to be a fun ride. Let's kick this off with the basics. The 1966 Lincoln penny. Nothing flashy, right? Just good Abe Lincoln staring off into the distance like he's thinking about dinner. But this particular year, something interesting was going on at the US Mint. Back in the mid-60s, the Mint was going through what you might call a bit of a mint identity crisis. In 1965, they decided to stop using mint marks altogether as a way to discourage coin hoarding. Yep, people were going nuts collecting coins, thinking they'd be rare one day. Sound familiar? Specifically 1965, 1966, and 1967 coins came out without mint marks. That means whether it was struck in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, you couldn't tell. They all looked the same. Now, usually, that would make these coins less collectible, right? But here's where things get spicy. In the case of the 1966 Lincoln penny, some of them were struck using experimental planchets or had crazy mint errors, off-center strikes, double dies, or just plain oddball metal composition. And when those coins are in top-tier condition, we're talking mint state 67 or higher, collectors lose their minds. In one auction, a nearly flawless 1966 no-mint mark penny sold for a staggering $1.2 million. I mean, come on, imagine turning a 1-cent coin into a millionaire's payday. That's gotta be the best ROI in history. A few years back, I was helping my dad clean out his garage. You know how it goes, boxes of old tools, tangled extension cords, and random junk from the 90s. We stumble on this dusty coffee can just loaded with coins. Pennies, dimes, a few nickels, and one Canadian quarter for some reason. Being the coin nerd I am, I started sorting through them while sipping a lukewarm cola, and boom, there it was. A 1966 Lincoln penny. No mint mark. I nearly flipped the coffee can off the table. My heart's racing, my palms are sweaty, and I'm thinking this could be it. My ticket to early retirement in a beachfront condo. Now, spoiler alert, mine wasn't the $1 million one. It had some scratches and dents, looked like it had been through a few wild rides in a shopping cart. But it was still worth a few bucks more than face value, which was pretty cool. You never know what's hiding in your change or stashed away in the junk drawer. This can't be stressed enough. Coins that sell for crazy money are almost always in pristine shape. No scratches, no discoloration, nowhere. It's like they time traveled from 1966 and skipped every pocket and soda machine. Keep your eyes peeled for double dies where the letters or numbers look kinda shadowed or have a ghost image. Off-center strikes are also a hot ticket. And anything with unusual luster or texture could mean something rare. If you find a 1966 penny that looks too good to be true, don't just toss it in a piggy bank. Get it professionally graded by PCGS or NGC. That's how collectors determine value, and it can make the difference between a penny and a payday. This is a big one. I know the urge to shine it up is real, but resist. Cleaning a coin can absolutely wreck its value. Collectors want original condition, even if that means it looks a little grubby. Now for a quick history nerd moment. The 1966 penny still has the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. That design ran from 1959 to 2008. So if you find a 1966 penny that doesn't have the Lincoln Memorial on the back, guess what? That's not just rare. That's something the mint never intended. Jackpot potential right there. It's wild how one little coin from a year when gas was 32 cents and the Beatles were still touring can be worth more than most people's houses. Just goes to show that sometimes, the smallest things hold the biggest surprises. So here's the takeaway, my fellow coin hunters. That unassuming penny you've walked past 100 times could be hiding serious treasure. The 1966 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is more than just spare change, it's a legend. And if you've got one in pristine condition or with a funky error, you might just be sitting on a fortune. Now, don't go dumping your whole coin jar on the kitchen table without a plan. Start slow. Learn the signs. And hey, have some fun with it. Because coin collecting isn't just about the money, it's about the stories, the thrill of the hunt, and the weird joy of finding something valuable where nobody else thought to look. If you enjoyed this video and want more down-to-earth tips on spotting valuable coins, crazy mint errors, and money-making coin strategies, hit that subscribe button. Go ahead, smash it like a penny in a vending machine. And tap the bell too, so you don't miss the next big find. Thanks for hanging out with me. Happy hunting, and may your next penny be worth $1 million. Hey folks, what if I told you that a single penny from 1993 with a tiny little D on it could be worth a whopping $1.4 million? That's right, not $100, not 1,000, not even 100,000. We're talking $1.4 million. That's enough to buy a dream house, a brand new sports car, and still have enough left over for a year's supply of tacos. And let's be honest, who doesn't want that? Now before you start flipping over your couch cushions or tearing up your car's cup holders looking for spare change, let me walk you through exactly why this little copper-colored coin is worth more than most people's retirement accounts. We're diving into the story of the 1993 D Lincoln Penny, the hidden gem of pocket change that could turn you into a millionaire overnight. So buckle up, grab a cup of coffee, or hey, maybe your old coin jar from under the bed, because you just might be sitting on a fortune. It was 1993. Jurassic Park hit theaters, the internet was just starting to crawl out of its dial-up diapers, and the Denver Mint was busy cranking out Lincoln pennies like it was going out of style. Millions of them, in fact. But out of all those coins, there's one, just one, that turned into a collector's dream. Now, you might be wondering, what makes this 1993 D penny so special? I mean, They made over 6 billion of these things that year. That's billion with a big OLB. So how in the world does one of them end up being worth $1.4 million? Well, my friend, it all comes down to a little thing called rarity and a big thing called an error. This particular penny had a unique die error, basically. Something went wrong in the minting process. The coin was struck on a bronze planchet instead of the regular copper-plated zinc that was standard after 1982. That mistake created a one-of-a-kind coin. Combine that with the fact that it was in pristine condition, practically untouched by human hands, and boom, you've got a coin that collectors go absolutely bananas for. Think of it like a misprint baseball card or a misprinted stamp. When something's not supposed to happen and only happens once or twice, collectors lose their minds over it. And the price tag shoots through the roof. But here's the kicker. Most people wouldn't even notice the difference if they had it in their hand. It looks just like every other penny. You could have used it to buy a stick of gum or feed a parking meter. That's what makes this so crazy. Now let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was at a garage sale, and you know how much I love those. I picked up this dusty old tin full of random coins for $5. The lady selling it said, "Oh, that's just some old junk my grandpa used to collect. Probably nothing valuable in there." Well, challenge accepted. I took it home, popped the lid, and started sorting through. And let me tell you, it felt like I was panning for gold. I found a 1943 steel penny, a 1955 double die, even a few wheat pennies in great shape. No $1,000,000 1993 D, unfortunately, but it taught me something important. The good stuff is out there. Sometimes hiding in plain sight. So back to our 1993 D. If you happen to find one, especially one that looks a little different, heavier, maybe a slightly different color, it might just be worth getting it professionally graded. A reputable coin grading service like PCGS or NGC can tell you whether you're holding something worth face value or enough to retire on. And remember, condition matters. A coin that's been scratched up, cleaned the wrong way, or tossed around like pocket lint isn't going to fetch top dollar. But a 1993 D in mint state condition with that rare bronze composition? That's where the magic happens. Just a few years back, one of these exact coins sold at auction for $1.4 million. That's not clickbait. That's cold, hard cash. Someone out there cashed in big time, and they probably found it in a coin collection, a piggy bank, or, I don't know, maybe even the change drawer in their CA or .so. How do you know if your penny is the one? We're talking a coin with a D mint mark under the year, indicating it was made in Denver. Weigh it. A normal penny from that year should weigh 2.5 grams. The rare bronze era version? Closer to 3.1 grams. That's a pretty big difference. If you've got a digital scale handy, it's definitely worth checking out. And listen, even if you don't find the $1,000,000 penny today, going through your change can still uncover some great finds. There are dozens of valuable pennies out there, and that's what this channel is all about. Finding hidden treasures in the places you least expect. That a 1993 D penny, if struck on the wrong metal and in top-notch condition, can rake in $1.4 million. That a little curiosity can go a long way. And that, yes, you absolutely should dump out that change jar when you get home. And if you're like me and love hunting for treasure without ever leaving your house, then this is the place to be. I break down the best coin collecting tips, the hottest coins on the market, and the stories that make this hobby a real adventure. Now, if this video got you thinking about raiding your old coin stash or maybe checking under the cushions for a fortune in pennies, do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell so you don't miss a single tip, trick, or tale from the wild world of coin collecting. And hey, share this video with a friend who might be sitting on a small fortune and doesn't even know it. Hey there, coin hunters and treasure seekers. What if I told you there's a little copper-colored coin from 1994 that could be worth more than a brand new Lamborghini? That's right. I'm talking about a penny. Just one. A 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny that's worth a jaw-dropping $1 million. Yep, 7 figures. And it might just be sitting in your junk drawer, piggy bank, or hiding under your couch cushions right now. Before you laugh and say, "Come on man, it's just a penny," stick with me. Because by the end of this video, you'll be eyeballing every cent you come across like a hawk with a magnifying glass. We're diving into what makes this penny so special, how to spot it, and of course, I'm going to throw in a personal story that proves anyone, and I mean anyone, can stumble across a fortune in the most unexpected place. So grab your coin jars, kick back, and let's talk about how one tiny, rusty-colored coin flipped the script on pocket change. Alright, So first things first, what's the deal with the 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny? Let's break it down. The penny itself was part of the regular issue back in 1994. Good OL, Abraham Lincoln on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back, made out of copper-plated zinc. Same as millions and millions of others. But here's the twist. Most pennies were struck at the Philadelphia Mint that year, which usually doesn't put a mint mark on coins. So seeing a 1994 penny without a mint mark isn't exactly shocking. Some of these 1994 no-mint mark pennies were struck with extremely rare die errors. And one of those pennies, folks, had such a unique misstrike combined with pristine condition and high demand among collectors that it auctioned off for, wait for it, $1 million. Let that sink in. $1 million for a penny. Some of the most valuable 1994 pennies have things like double dies, where the image is struck twice and looks slightly blurry or has doubling on the lettering off center strikes, where the design is shifted noticeably away from the center die cracks and cuts, where parts of the coin show extra metal from worn-out minting tools, a transitional error, where a coin was accidentally struck using the wrong metal composition, and it's not just the error that makes it worth money. It's the condition too. That $1 million penny? It wasn't just any OL, beat-up penny. It was graded at an ultra-high level, meaning it looked like it just popped out of the mint yesterday. Shine so bright you'd think it was polished with unicorn tears. Now, you're probably wondering how many of these are out there. Truth is, nobody knows for sure. That's what makes coin hunting so exciting. It's like metal detecting, but you don't need the equipment, just your eyes and some curiosity. A few years back, I was cleaning out my late uncle's fishing tackle box. You know, the one filled with rusty hooks, old bobbers, and about 20 years worth of dirt. In the corner was a tiny plastic box filled with coins. I figured it was just some pocket change, but one coin caught my eye, a 1982 Lincoln penny that looked off. Long story short, I took it to a local coin shop, and they nearly fainted. It wasn't a $1 million coin, but it ended up selling for just over $3,000. That's when I really got into coins. Because if something worth thousands could hide in that mess, imagine what's out there in the world. Now, let's circle back. If you've got a 1994 penny with no mint mark, here's what you want to do. Use a magnifying glass or your phone's zoom. Check for doubling on the date, liberty, and "In God We Trust." If the coin looks like it was punched off to the side, that's a good sign. Those could be die cracks or cuts. If you've got a scale, a normal penny from that year should weigh 2.5 grams. If it's heavier or lighter, it might be something special. If you suspect you've got something, send it into a reputable grading service. PCGS and NGC are your best bets. And hey, even if you don't find the $1 million version, some of these error pennies still go for hundreds or even thousands. Not bad for something you might have used to buy a gumball. So there you have it. The story of a 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny that turned heads and wallets in the coin collecting world. A penny that could be your ticket to an early retirement, a dream vacation, or at the very least, a really good story. You don't need to be a professional collector. You don't need fancy tools. You just need curiosity, a good eye, and maybe a flashlight to look under your car seat. If you like this video and want to keep uncovering more hidden treasures in your spare change, hit that subscribe button. I'm dropping tips, coin values, collecting strategies, and stories just like this every single week. And if you've ever found a strange-looking penny, dime, or quarter, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your stories. Who knows, your find might be the next $1 million mystery we feature. All right, folks, hold on to your pockets because what I'm about to tell you might just blow your mind and send you digging through your couch cushions. Imagine this. You're standing in line at the grocery store, just paid for a candy bar, and the cashier hands you a few coins and change. You glance at them, toss them in your pocket, and go on with your day. But what if I told you that one of those pennies, yes, a boring old penny, could actually be worth $1.1 million? Yep, you heard that right. A single penny. 1 cent worth over $1 million. Specifically, we're talking about the 2001 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. That tiny copper-colored coin that most people wouldn't even stoop to pick up off the sidewalk might just be your ticket to an early retirement. So grab your coin jar, get comfortable, and let's dive into the jaw-dropping story behind this insanely valuable penny and why you need to be on the lookout for it. Now, first things first. Let's break it down for anyone who's new to coin collecting or just accidentally stumbled on this video while searching for cat videos. The 2001 Abraham Lincoln penny is part of the familiar Lincoln Cent series. It's got Abe's profile on the front looking all presidential, and the Lincoln Memorial on the back, right? Seems standard. But here's where it gets spicy. Normally, coins minted in Philadelphia carry no mint mark, and coins from Denver have a D. That's how we keep track of where these little guys were born. But in 2001, something strange happened. A batch of pennies without mint mark showed up, and they weren't your run-of-the-mill coins. See, most no mint mark pennies from 2001 are pretty average. But a small number were struck on bronze planchets, the same kind of metal used back in the 1980s. That was a huge mistake, and you know how collectors are with minting errors. They go bananas for M. That's like finding a misprinted baseball card or a stamp with the queen upside down. Errors turn into treasures. And the value? Well, it started small. A couple hundred here, a few thousand there. But as the years went on and the coin world got wind of how rare these misstruck 2001 pennies were, the price shot up like a rocket. The most pristine ones sold at auction for a whopping $1.1 million. That's not a typo. $1.1 million for a penny. Now I know what you're thinking. $1 million penny sounds like the stuff of fairy tales. But believe me, it's very real. What makes these specific 2001 no mint mark Lincoln pennies so valuable is a combination of rarity, condition, and that weird bronze composition. Only a few were ever discovered, and finding one in top condition is like winning the lottery. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was at a flea market poking around some old coin bins. This one vendor had a big box of what he called junk coins. Stuff he didn't think was worth anything. I figured, why not? I started flipping through them, looking for older wheat pennies. And what do I find? A 2001 no mint mark penny that just felt different. He sold it to me for a quarter. A quarter. I sent it off to get graded just to be sure. Turns out it wasn't the $1 million one, but it was still worth a few grand. Not bad for something that cost me less than a bottle of soda. And that's the beauty of coin collecting. You never know what treasure is hiding in plain sight. Maybe in your pocket. Maybe in that jar on your kitchen counter. Heck, maybe even stuck between your car seats next to an old French fry. Now, if you're wondering what to look for, let me help you out. Here's a simple checklist for spotting one of these valuable 2001 no mint mark Lincoln pennies. 1. Check for the mint mark. Or rather, the lack of one. It should have no letter beneath the date. 2. Look at the color. If it has more of a bronze or reddish tone instead of the usual zinky shine, that's a good sign. 3. Weigh it. A normal penny from 2001 weighs about 2.5 grams. The bronze planchet ones weigh about 3.1 grams. Get yourself a cheap little digital scale and start measuring. You might be holding something worth a whole lot more than a cent for. The condition matters. If it looks like it just came from the bank and it still has that sharp detail, you might really be in luck. And listen, don't be shy about getting your coins appraised. There are experts out there who live for this kind of thing. You can send your penny to a grading service like PCGS or NGC, and they'll tell you exactly what you've got. Now, some of you might be thinking, all right, but what are the odds? Let me put it this way. The odds of finding a $1 million penny are probably better than getting struck by lightning while being chased by a bear during a snowstorm. Okay, maybe not better, but at least if you're searching for pennies, you won't end up in the emergency room. So here's the takeaway. That little Lincoln penny you barely noticed could be the golden ticket you never knew you had. The 2001 no mint mark penny is real. It's rare. And it's worth some serious cash if you find the right one. Check your change. Dig through those old drawers. Look in your car, your pockets, your grandpa's coin jar. And if you do find one that fits the bill, get it checked out. You could be holding a $1 million miracle. If you enjoyed this video and you want more tips, stories, and strategies on finding coins worth big money, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I drop videos just like this all the time. Who knows? Next time we might be talking about a nickel that's worth more than your car. Hey there, coin hunters and treasure seekers, welcome back to the channel, where we turn pocket change into gold mines. Literally, today's episode is gonna blow your socks off and probably have you diving headfirst into the couch cushions. So let me ask you this, have you ever glanced at a shiny little penny and thought, it's just 1 cent? Well, hold on to your seat, because that 1 cent might just be worth $1.2 million. That's right, $1.2 million for a 2017 D Lincoln penny. Now, before you start thinking I'm pulling your leg, let me tell you we're diving into the wild story behind this seemingly ordinary coin, how it became a superstar in the numismatic world, and why you might just have one sitting in your change jar. And stick around, because I'll share the time I thought I struck it rich But let's just say the only thing I struck was disappointment. You don't want to miss that one. So, what's the deal with this 2017 D Lincoln Penny, and why is it worth over $1 million? Bucks, let's start with a little background. The 2017 penny was part of the ongoing Lincoln Cent series, which started way back in 1909. Now 2017 was a pretty average year for pennies. Millions of them were minted at the Denver Mint. That's the D you see under the date on the coin. So, how did one of these pennies break into the Millionaires Club? Simple. Well, kind of, it's all about rarity, error, and condition. You see, this particular 2017 D penny has an extremely rare minting error. We're talking about a double die error, but not just any double die. This one shows serious doubling on Lincoln's I and on the inscriptions like Liberty and I in God We Trust. The doubling is so crisp and dramatic you can spot it without a magnifying glass. Now here's where it gets juicy. This coin wasn't just a fluke. It somehow slipped through quality control and made its way into circulation. Clean, sharp strikes, bright luster, no visible wear, and a mint error that's clear as day. That combination makes it one of a kind. Collectors went nuts when this penny surfaced. A few tried to call it fake, but after being authenticated and graded MS67 red by a top grading service, the numismatic community officially lost its mind. 1 cent instantly turned into $1.2 million. And no, I'm not crying. You are now. Let me tell you about the time I thought I had one. I was at a flea market digging through a dusty old bowl of coins, and I saw it, a 2017 D penny, bright red, sharp detail. My heart skipped a beat. I thought, this is it. This is my early retirement. I even texted my buddy to tell him we were going to Vegas. I got home, pulled out the magnifier, and started comparing it to pictures online. And guess what? No doubling, nada, nothing. It was just a really clean, regular old penny. I even tried to convince myself that Lincoln's I looked a little different, but no dice. Lesson learned, folks. Always double check, and don't book a trip to Vegas until the experts weigh in. Now, if you're wondering what to look for, here's a quick checklist. Look for the D mint mark under the year. Check Lincoln's I. Is there a ghost image or doubling? Look at the letters in Liberty and I in God We Trust. Do they look like they're stacked or shadowed? Make sure the coin hasn't been cleaned or damaged. That can kill the value faster than dropping it down a sewer. Grade O. And pro tip, don't clean your coins. Leave the dirt. Let the experts decide the value. A shiny, cleaned coin might look nice, but to collectors, it's like putting ketchup on a steak. It's just wrong. The current market value for the top-known specimen is sitting at $1.2 million, and demand is still high. If another flawless error penny like this comes out of the woodwork, who knows, it might even top that price. So, where are these pennies showing up? Not in fancy auctions, not in museums. They're turning up in pocket change rolls from the bank, flea markets, even that one weird drawer everyone has in the kitchen with rubber bands and expired coupons. All right, so what have we learned today? A regular-looking penny from 2017 with a Denver Mint mark could be hiding a $1.2 million secret. And you don't have to be a professional coin dealer to find one. You just have to know what to look for and keep your eyes peeled. And hey, if you do find one, promise me you'll remember who told you about it. Maybe send me a thank you card or at least a bag of chips before you run off to flip your couch cushions and raid your piggy bank. Do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. I've got loads more coin tips, hidden gem finds, and crazy stories from the collecting world coming your way. Trust me, you don't want to miss the next episode. We're talking about a coin that literally turned a gas station attendant into a millionaire. You'll want to hear that one. Hey there, fellow coin hunters and treasure seekers. Let me ask you something. Have you ever dropped a penny on the ground and just left it there? Be honest. You saw that little copper coin, figured it wasn't worth bending over for, and just kept walking. Well, what if I told you that one of those little ignored pennies, specifically a 1984 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.3 million today? Yeah, you heard me right. $1.3 million. For a penny.so. Before you start cleaning out your couch cushions or rummaging through that jar of change you've had sitting on the kitchen counter since 1997, sit tight. Because today, we're diving deep into the fascinating and downright shocking world of one very specific penny. I'll tell you what makes this coin so valuable, how to spot one, and share a story about the time I accidentally almost spent a small fortune on a vending machine burrito. Yep, true story. All right, grab a snack, get comfortable, and let's dig into the story of the $1 million 1984 Lincoln penny that might be hiding right under your nose. Let's start with the basics. The 1984 Lincoln penny. Now most folks look at it and think, meh, just another 1 cent coin with good Honest Abe on it. But not all 1984 pennies are created equal, my friend. Some of them are hiding a little secret that can make you a millionaire. The coin we're talking about has no mint mark, meaning it was minted in Philadelphia. Back in the day, the Philadelphia Mint didn't bother putting a mint mark on most of its coins. So when you see a penny without a mint mark, chances are it came from Philly. Now here's where things get spicy. There's a known variety of the 1984 penny that has a pretty noticeable error. It's called a double die obverse. That's a fancy way of saying that when they made the die to stamp the coin, it was just a little off. So when they struck the coin, Lincoln's features, specifically his ear, his chin, and sometimes parts of his bow tie, look like they've been duplicated or shadowed. It's kind of like looking at a 3D movie without the glasses. Trippy, right? This type of error isn't just a little quirk. It's rare. And collectors love rare. So over time, as the number of verified double-die 1984 no-mint mark pennies went down, thanks to spending, loss, or folks not knowing what they had, the value of these coins went way, way up, to the tune of $1.3 million for one in mint condition. Now, most of these pennies won't go for $1 million. If it's beat up and scratched, you're probably looking at a few hundred or maybe a couple $1,000s. But if you've got one that's in pristine condition, straight out of grandma's penny jar and untouched by time, then buddy, you might just be holding a small fortune. Let me tell you about the time I almost gave mine away. A few years back. I'm at a gas station. I was starving. You know, the kind of hunger where you'd eat the cardboard packaging if it meant food was inside. I head over to the vending machine to grab one of those microwave burritos, the ones that taste like regret and rubber cheese. I pop in $1 and need 75 cents more. I dig into my pocket and start feeding in change. I had this shiny penny that looked brand new. I mean, it sparkled like it had been buffed with unicorn tears. Right before I shoved it into the machine, the old guy behind me taps me on the shoulder and goes, "You might not want to spend that." I gave him a side eye like, "What? Is the vending machine haunted?" He chuckles and says, "That's a 1984 double die. You might want to look that up." I shrugged him off, bought the burrito anyway, but took the penny back. Later that night, I pulled out my magnifying glass. Yes, I have one, don't judge, and gave that penny a closer look. Sure enough, Lincoln had 2 ears. 2. Like the dude was growing a backup in case one failed. I about fell out of my chair, had it graded and verified. Turns out, it wasn't in perfect condition, but it still pulled in a solid 5 figures at auction. And to this day, I thank that burrito-craving guardian angel for saving me from turning my fortune into a stomachache. Second, examine Lincoln's ear. If it looks like he's got a ghost ear hovering right behind the real one, that's your double die. His chin and bow tie might also show signs of doubling. Third, condition matters. If it's scratched up, bent, or has been through the laundry 10 times, it's still worth something, but not retirement money worthy. But if it looks nearly uncirculated, clean as a whistle, then you might be in for a life-changing surprise. Now a word of warning. There are fakes out there. People have tried to replicate the doubling or smooth off mint marks to create fake varieties. So don't go listing your coin on eBay the minute you spot a second ear. Have it checked by a professional. Get it graded. That official stamp of approval can turn your little penny into a mighty big payday. Let's zoom out for a second. What makes coins like these so exciting? It's the idea that something so ordinary, something most people wouldn't even stop to pick up off the ground, can be worth a fortune. It's modern-day treasure hunting. And the best part? You don't need a shovel or a metal detector, just a sharp eye and a little knowledge. There are thousands of coin collectors and enthusiasts who hunt for these rare coins as a hobby, a side hustle, or even a full-time gig. They flip coins at auctions, trade in forums, and some have built entire businesses around coins that most folks think are pocket change. And let me tell you, once you find your first valuable coin, it's addicting. You'll be checking every penny, nickel, and quarter that passes through your hands. Your family will think you've gone nuts, but who cares? You're hunting treasure. Next time you find a penny on the ground, don't just walk on by. Pick it up, flip it over, and take a good look. Especially if it's a 1984 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. It might just be hiding a tiny little error that turns 1 cent into $1.3 million. And hey, even if it's not a millionaire penny, you're still in the game. Because once you know what to look for, every coin you come across becomes a mystery waiting to be solved. A possible jackpot hiding in plain sight. If you enjoyed this story and want more tips on coins worth serious money, strategies to grow your collection, or just want to hang out and talk treasure with a fellow coin nerd, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications. I've got more juicy finds coming your way, and trust me, you won't want to miss them. Hey there, treasure hunters and coin flipping champions. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at the pennies in your pocket? No, really looked. I'm talking about flipping them over like Indiana Jones searching for lost artifacts. Because one of those little copper coins might just be your golden ticket. You could be holding a 1993 no mint mark Lincoln penny worth. Wait for it, $1.4 million. Yeah, you heard me right. That's not a typo. That's not a joke. That's a life-changing pile of cash hiding in your coin jar. Now, before you go flipping over the couch cushions or raiding your kid's piggy bank, sit tight. I'm going to break down exactly why this humble penny is worth more than a Lamborghini, what to look for, and how you might just strike it rich. And along the way, I've got a story involving a coin jar, an overcooked pizza, and my grandma's eagle eyes that you don't want to miss. Grab a snack, maybe a magnifying glass, and let's dig into the million-dollar mystery of the 1993 no mint mark Lincoln penny. All right, let's start with the basics. The 1993 Lincoln penny was part of the regular run of coins made by the United States Mint. Most of them were made in Philadelphia, which usually doesn't put a mint mark on the coins. So if you're looking at a 1993 penny and there's no little letter under the year, don't panic. That part is totally normal. But here's where things get spicy. Among all those regular pennies, a few were struck with some strange and rare errors. These errors can include doubling, off-center strikes, planchet issues, and even rare composition mistakes. Now, normally that might only fetch you a few bucks, maybe a couple hundred if it's dramatic enough. But one particular 1993 no mint mark penny turned out to be so rare, so pristine, and so unusual that it was valued at $1.4 million in today's collector market. Now that's what I call a penny saved is a fortune earned. So what exactly makes this penny worth its weight in gold? And then some. First, condition. The million-dollar coin was found in what's called MS 70 condition. That stands for Mint State 70, which basically means it's flawless. No scratches, no nicks, no oily fingerprints from someone who just ate a bucket of fried chicken. It looks like it came straight from the mint and was immediately put in a time capsule. Second, this coin had an extremely rare die error. In simple terms, the stamp that hit this penny was slightly misaligned, causing some doubling in Lincoln's profile and a strange texture in the copper coating. Experts call this a transitional error because it reflects a weird in-between moment in the coin production process. Combine that with the perfect condition and the fact that only one like it has been authenticated, boom, you've got a collector's unicorn. A tiny, copper-colored, million-dollar unicorn. Now let's talk about where this coin was found. And here's where I bring in my grandma. Picture this. It's 2016. I'm sitting at grandma's kitchen table, sorting through a big OL jar of pennies while she makes her famous burnt bottom pizza. I'm not saying it's bad, but let's just say the smoke alarm was part of the cooking process. Anyway, I'm bored out of my mind flipping coins like I'm auditioning for a role in some Wild West saloon movie. And then grandma leans over, squints through her thick glasses, and says, "You know, people throw away pennies like they're not worth anything. But one day, someone's gonna find a penny worth $1 million." Now, I didn't know it then, but grandma was onto something. I kept sorting through that jar, found a couple of wheat pennies, some shiny 1982s, and even a Canadian penny that looked like it had been run over by a lawnmower. But number 1993, no mint mark magic that day. Still, I never forgot what she said. And now, with this coin making headlines in the coin collecting world, I realize grandma was a coin prophet. What should you be looking for if you want to score big with your 1993 penny? Remember, that part is expected for Philadelphia coins. But if it has one, it's not the million-dollar version. If it's been through the washing machine 5 times, you're out of luck. We're talking sharp details, clean edges, and full luster. Look for doubling in Lincoln's face or unusual surfaces and textures. If it looks a little off, it might be on the money. If you think you've got something special, don't just post it on Facebook asking strangers for opinions. Send it to a reputable coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. Now here's the kicker. The 1993 penny isn't the only one out there with surprise value. There are dozens of coins, nickels, dimes, quarters, that have sold for eye-watering amounts of cash because of rare errors or special conditions. And I talk about those all the time on this channel. But what makes the 1993 penny so special is how ordinary it looks. It hides in plain sight. It could be in your wallet, your desk drawer, Or that old junk cup in your car next to expired mints and broken pins. Point 1. Never underestimate a penny. 2. Grandma is always right. And 3. $1 million finds aren't just in museums or sunken pirate ships. Sometimes they're jingling in your pocket right now. If you've got some 1993 pennies lying around, take a closer look. Who knows? You might be holding on to a fortune without even realizing it. Just don't go cashing them in for a soda before you've had them checked. Now listen, if you love learning about coins that are worth real money, if you enjoy hunting for hidden treasures, and if you just like hearing a few good stories along the way, then do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications so you never miss a coin tip that could change your life. And hey, give this video a thumbs up if you've ever accidentally thrown away a coin and now seriously regret it. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Now go check your change, call your grandma, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be the next lucky person to turn 1 cent into 1.4 million bucks. Hey everybody, listen up because you might want to check your pocket change after this video. No joke. Imagine this. You're digging through the couch cushions, hoping to find a quarter for the parking meter, and BM, you pull out a penny. Not just any penny. A 1997 D Lincoln penny. Now, before you chuckle and toss it aside, let me hit you with the real headline. That little copper-colored coin might be worth 1.5 million bucks. Yeah, that's right. $1.5 million. For a penny. If that doesn't make you want to raid your change jar like a pirate after buried treasure, I don't know what will. Today, we're diving deep into the story behind this coin, why it's worth a fortune, what makes it so dang special, and how you might be lucky enough to find one. Oh, and I'll be sharing a little personal story involving a metal detector, a sunburn, and one very embarrassing moment at a local coin show. So, grab a drink, get comfy, and don't go anywhere because this could be the most profitable 40 minutes of your life. All right, let's start with the basics. The 1997 D Lincoln penny. Minted in Denver, hence the D mint mark. It looks pretty normal on the surface. You've got OL, Honest Abe on the front, the Lincoln Memorial on the back, and that classic reddish tone we all know and mostly ignore. But here's where it gets interesting. Most 1997 D pennies are worth exactly 1 cent. Maybe 2 if you're lucky. But a tiny handful, and I do mean tiny, were struck with some major errors that make collectors go absolutely wild. We're talking minting errors, rare metal compositions, and die varieties that turn an everyday coin into a collector's holy grail. The most valuable 1997 D penny ever sold at auction? It went for $1.5 million. Yup, a penny someone might have used to scratch a lottery ticket with is now worth more than most people's houses. Now you're probably wondering, what exactly made that penny so valuable? Well, let's break it down. First off, it had a crazy mint error called a double die obverse. That means the image on the front was struck twice, slightly off-center, giving Lincoln a weird shadowy ghost face. Creepy? A little. Cool? Very. Valuable? Incredibly. Second, the coin had an off-metal strike. Instead of being made from the usual copper-plated zinc, it was struck on a planchet meant for a dime. That made it slightly thinner, lighter, and gave it a completely different ring when dropped on a table. I don't recommend throwing it, though. Not unless you like throwing away $1 million. And finally, the condition. That coin was found in nearly perfect shape. No scratches, no dents, just gleaming copper beauty. You see, condition is everything in the coin world. A beat-up penny might get you a few bucks. A pristine one? That's retirement money right there. A few years back, I got the bright idea to take up metal detecting. I figured I'd make it a relaxing hobby. Go out, enjoy the sunshine, maybe find some loose change, and live my Indiana Jones fantasy. So there I was, sweating under the hot summer sun, swinging my metal detector in the park like I was searching for buried treasure. After a solid hour of nothing but soda and tabs and rusty nails, I got a solid beep. Dug down and boom, I found a penny. A 1997 D. I nearly screamed. My heart was pounding, I was shaking, and I think I scared a squirrel out of a tree. I ran home, washed it off, inspected it with my loupe, held it up to the light, and of course, it was just your average run-of-the-mill penny. No Ghostface Lincoln, no off-metal strike, and definitely no $1.5 million jackpot. But hey, the rush? That feeling of maybe, just maybe, finding something life-changing? That's what keeps us in the hunt. Now let's talk about what to look for if you've got a 1997 D penny lying around. First, check for any doubling in the letters or Lincoln's features. Look at his eyes, his nose, and the words "I in God we trust." If they look blurry or shadowed, you might have a double die. Second, weigh the coin. If it feels a little too light or too heavy, it could be struck on the wrong planchet. You'll need a digital scale for that. Super cheap online and totally worth the investment. Third, check the edges. A misaligned die can cause off-center strikes or missing edges. Any weird shapes or cuts can mean big money. And last but not least, get a second opinion. There are professional grading services like PCGS or NGC that will tell you exactly what you've got. They'll also slab it, which basically means they seal it in a plastic case with a label that screams "I'm valuable." Now don't get discouraged if your penny turns out to be a regular one, because the real treasure is in the hunt. That next coin you get as change from the gas station could be worth more than your car, or your boat, or both. So here's the bottom line. Folks, check your coins, especially those 1997 D Lincoln Pennies. There's a $1.5 million jackpot out there with someone's name on it. Why not yours? Whether you're a seasoned collector or just a curious beginner with a jar full of change, the world of coin collecting is full of surprises, stories, and seriously valuable finds. And hey, you don't need to be rich to get started. You just need a good eye, a little patience, and maybe a flashlight for digging around in the couch cushions. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear more wild stories about coins worth more than your rent, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Tap the like, drop a comment if you've ever found something cool in your change, and don't forget to ring that bell so you never miss out on another $1 million coin tip. Hey there, my fellow coin hunters. Let me ask you a question that'll make you want to check your pocket change real quick. What if I told you that a plain OL 1985 D Lincoln Penny, the same kind you might have chucked into a tip jar or lost under your car seat, could actually be worth a jaw-dropping $1.6 million? Yeah, you heard me right. A penny. Worth more than some folks' entire house. Now, before you flip your couch upside down looking for one, stick with me. We're diving deep into what makes the 1985 D Lincoln Penny so insanely valuable, what rare features you should be looking for, and why one little coin from Denver might just be your retirement plan in copper form. And hey, if you're like me and once tried to use a handful of pennies to pay for tacos, this video is especially for you. Let's turn those humble 1-cent coins into treasure. All right, let's roll back the clock to 1985. Ronald Reagan was president, Back to the Future was killing it at the box office, and a gallon of gas cost about $1.20. Oh, and the Denver Mint was cranking out Lincoln pennies by the billions. Now, most of those 1985 D pennies are still worth exactly what they say, 1 cent. Maybe 2 if you're lucky at the scrapyard. But every once in a while, one magical coin sneaks through the presses with an error so rare, collectors will throw bags of cash at you just to own it. It comes down to a wild combination of a few things: a double die error, high-grade condition, and a strong mint luster that's survived over 3 decades. Basically, this little copper beauty was born perfect. No scratches, no smudges, no signs of wear, and with a rare error that makes coin collectors lose their minds. A couple years back, I was visiting my Uncle Earl in Oklahoma. Now, Uncle Earl is what you might call old school. He still pays in cash, watches the news at 6 sharp, and keeps all his change in this giant glass water jug by the back porch. One afternoon, I got bored and started going through it. Just looking for wheat pennies or anything funky. I must have sifted through 300 coins when I pulled out a shiny little 1985 D penny. It looked fresh. Real fresh. I held it up to the light, squinted at it like a detective, and for a split second I thought, this could be it. Of course, it wasn't the $1 million one, but it got me hooked. I started researching errors, double dies, mint marks, you name it. And that's how I found out about the 1985 D jackpot penny. Now, this special coin isn't just any 1985 D. It's got a very specific double die error, most often on the date and the lettering. If you spot a 1985 D where the Liberty or the "In God We Trust" looks slightly blurry or doubled under magnification, stop what you're doing. That might just be the big one. Then comes the condition. Grading services like PCGS or NGC grade coins on a scale from 1 to 70. If your 1985 D penny has that error and is graded at MS68 or above, congrats, you might be sitting on 6 figures. But the one that sold for $1.6 million? That sucker was pristine. A true unicorn. Collectors go crazy for coins like this because they're nearly impossible to find in circulation. And if it has that beautiful red copper tone, you're in business. Someone found theirs in a roll of pennies from the bank. That's right. They didn't dig it up in an old pirate chest or buy it from a secret coin dealer in a shady alley. Nope. Just a regular roll of coins picked up on a Tuesday afternoon. That's what makes coin collecting so fun. The thrill of the hunt. You never know when a penny might turn out to be a payday. Now, while we're talking strategies, here are a few tips if you want to start looking for your own fortune. Get yourself a good magnifying glass. Not the kind your grandma used for crossword puzzles. You need one with real magnification so you can spot those doubled letters and die errors. Check every penny dated 1985 with a D mint mark. That D tells you it came from the Denver Mint, which is key for this rare variety. Look for clean, unworn coins. The shinier and crisper the detail, the better chance you have of hitting it big. Roll hunt like a pro. Head to your local bank and ask for a box of pennies. It's cheap entertainment and might make you rich. Learn to grade. Understanding the grading scale can help you figure out if what you've got is valuable or just nice to look at. Remember, this isn't a lottery ticket. It takes time and patience. But let me tell you, the moment you find something rare, your heart will skip a beat, and you'll be hooked. So, could you be holding on to a 1985 D Lincoln penny worth $1.6 million? Maybe. That's the magic of coin collecting. It takes a sharp eye, a little luck, and a whole lot of curiosity. And hey, even if you don't find the $1 million one today, who's to say what you'll discover tomorrow? Maybe it'll be a rare nickel, a valuable quarter, or a dime that's worth more than your monthly car payment. If this kind of treasure hunt excites you, you're in the right place. I've got loads of videos covering coins that are secretly worth a fortune, and I'll even share my own wins and fails along the way. Think of it like a roadmap to building your own collection, or maybe even your own mini fortune. So if you had a good time, learn something new, or just want to make sure you never accidentally spend a $1.6 million penny on a pack of gum, hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications so you never miss a tip, a story, or a strategy. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Now go check your change jar, dig through your couch cushions, and who knows, you might just strike copper gold. Hey, what's up, coin collectors? So, I've got something real special for you today. Picture this. You're digging through your change jar, not expecting much. Maybe finding a few pennies, a few dimes, the usual. But then, you pull out a 1988 penny, and guess what? This seemingly regular coin could be worth a whopping $1.7 million. Yep, you heard that right. And in today's video, I'm going to show you why this unassuming little copper disc could make you a serious profit. Stick around, because you won't want to miss out on these tips. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. A 1988 penny worth $1.7 million? Nah, that can't be right. Trust me, it sounds insane, but it's true. These pennies, especially the ones with no mint mark, have become legendary in the coin collecting world. But first, let's break it down a bit and explain how something so small can end up being worth more than a house. So, back in 1988, the US Mint was still cranking out pennies like they were going out of style. Most of them were made in Philly, the ones with no mint mark, and they were produced in such huge numbers that you'd think they wouldn't be worth much today. But here's the kicker. Some of these 1988 pennies had a weird flaw during production. Yeah, it's all about the minting errors, my friend. These mint errors are what make some coins worth an absolute fortune. Imagine a penny that looks normal, except maybe it's got a little off-center strike, a doubling of the design, or some other weird quirk that sets it apart from the rest. These errors are like finding a needle in a haystack, and when collectors get wind of it, the price goes through the roof. All right, let me hit you with a quick story. A few years ago, I was going through some old change I found in a jar. You know, the usual, coins from random places, some that looked like they'd been through a war zone. I wasn't expecting to find anything crazy. I figured I'd throw a few coins up for sale online, maybe make a buck or two. But guess what? I ended up selling a coin that was just like a 1988 no mint mark penny, and I got way more than I ever thought possible. It wasn't the $1.7 million, but it was close enough to remind me that you never know what you've got until you really take the time to look. Now, let's talk about the market. The 1988 no mint mark penny is not just some rare error coin. It's got history and significance. If you've ever wondered why people pay so much for these coins, it's all about rarity. Not only are these specific errors uncommon, but the penny itself was made in such high quantities that finding one in mint condition with a significant error is like finding a unicorn. But don't get too excited and think you can just pull out any old 1988 penny and expect a fortune. Oh no, it's got to be the right one. These coins need to be in pristine condition, and the error has to be obvious enough for collectors to notice. So, how do you know if you've got the right one? Well, that's where the fun begins, because it's all about knowing what to look for. If your penny has no mint mark, that's step one. The 1988 pennies made in Philadelphia didn't have a mint mark, and those are the ones that have the potential to be worth more than their face value. Keep an eye out for minting errors, like double strikes, off-center strikes, or a misaligned die. These imperfections can make your coin a lot more valuable. The rarer the mistake, the higher the value. If the penny is in great shape, we're talking near-perfect condition, it's going to fetch a much higher price. The more wear and tear a coin has, the less it's going to be worth. Rarity. Remember, the fewer of these pennies in circulation, the higher the demand. If you've got a true mint error or a unique flaw, you might just be holding on to a gold mine. So, if you're digging through that change jar and happen to stumble upon a 1988 no mint mark penny, don't just toss it aside like any other cent. Give it a second look. It could be worth more than you ever imagined. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, knowing how to spot these valuable coins is key. And who knows, that penny you thought was worthless could end up funding your next big adventure. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for more awesome tips and strategies on how to find coins that could make you a fortune. I've got plenty more coin secrets to share with you, so stay tuned and keep hunting those hidden gems. You never know when the next big find is going to come your way.